Welcome to another episode of the True Beast Podcast, brought to you by XDog.com, where you can find the world's greatest health enhancement harness for dogs, the XDog Fitness Vest. Exercising your dog has never been easier or more effective than with the XDog Fitness Vest. But what makes it the world's greatest health enhancement harness? Well, not only will it get your dog in better physical shape, but it also supports mental health as well. Thousands of dog owners have utilized the XDog Vest to address anxiety and behavior issues and even depression. So if you're looking to enhance your dog's health or give it an overall better quality of life, be sure to check out XDog.com. And today we're on episode 59. And it's a special episode because we're out here at Ruff's Resort and Spa with a special guest by the name of Maddie. And of course, we got Stan Smith Jr., my youngin.
The second.
From Iron Sharp, professional dog trainer who also works dogs out here as well. Of course, we got Trevor, and then on the ones and twos, Jamarcus. How's everybody going? How's everything doing?
Going pretty good.
I said that completely opposite.
How's
everything doing?
Man,
How y'all going?
Look, Manny, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell them what you do out here, and then Stan can talk about why we're here.
Okay. Well, my name is Maddie Love. I'm the owner and manager of Ruff Resort and Spa, and I also do rescue work. I have a small local dog rescue called Love and Paws Rescue. We take the most at-risk dogs due to our connections with, both XDog, Stan Smith, Iron Sharp. We feel like we have the ability to take on dogs with anxiety that have more issues with people, with other dogs. We have the capabilities to take on different levels of dogs. We're just comfortable with that. So we're really unique in that sense, where a lot of facilities won't take dogs with issues. We kind of take it head on, and we like to find a place for everyone.
Now, are there specific breeds that people are kind of concerned about when you talk about problematic dogs, or is it just any breed in general?
It depends on if you mean rescue or...
Rescue.
So rescue, I mean the pit bull,
yeah.
Quote, pit bull.
Mm-hmm.
Bulldogs, Staffordshire Terriers, pit bull terriers, bullies. If it has a big head, they're probably going to be the first to put down. They're probably going to be the first to be labeled aggressive. You can have a really drivey dog who's really excitable and really jumpy, and you can walk past him in the shelter and be like, wow, that's a dangerous dog.
Yeah.
Let's put him down. But a lab's jumping up, barking, doing the same exact thing, and that's a super friendly sweet dog.
You mean to tell me the head size alone, they'll kill you over a big head?
So if you were a dog, you'd be euthanized first.
Man, I'm out of here, man. My head is about 7 5/8. That's a big fucking head.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they say, big-headed breeds, that's like a thing in rescue, yeah.
That's really that's really unfortunate, man.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit then about how Stan adds value to your thing, because I'd imagine managing the problems when it comes to dogs, having a resort where we just walked in and we talked about it. You showed me the issue a moment ago. How important is it, do you think, to have a guy like him working
so when I started this 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, I'm only 26, so I'm very young. I have 7 dogs. I've had dogs all my life, but having dogs and working with dogs are two very different things. And having resources where I came in, all my dogs... free feed, they can do whatever they want, they just have a great life, maybe a little chunky. You start learning about dog behavior, kind of just a lot of cool things that I don't really know about dog behavior. I do now. Stan kind of showed me, how to handle dogs, how to be a leader, how to be strong, and how to be a presence for dogs. And for a problem dog, a dog with anxiety, a dog who's insecure, a dog who's unsure in new places, you really have to be that strong person for them to follow, or you're going to have a big problem on your hands.
No, I 100% agree with that. And that's really important, man. I think, that's what a lot of everyday dog owners struggle with is dog behavior, dog psychology. Mm-hmm. I didn't know very much about dog psychology until I got really deep into it after leaving Caesars, and that's what they all do. And then I met this whole giant network of dog trainers, right, who actually helped evolve how you utilize the XDog Vest as a tool.
Yeah,
and I was like,
sure.
wow, this is pretty crazy. And so Stan, how's everything been going with you, man?
Man, it's been good. Been staying consistent. Trevor's keeping that fire under us. Figuring out the business. The dogs are the easy part, just the business, the day-to-day processes, all of that. And I've learned a lot from Maddie on the business side of things because, that's what she went to school for. So one hand washes the other. It's been a good little deal.
Yeah, it's interesting when you find somebody that you can synergistically grow with, I think that's very important. We start building this ecosystem where it's like, okay, I meet Trevor. Well, I met Stan, met Trevor now we meet Maddie, and then we can collectively do something all together that's going to be impactful and actually change how people actually own dogs. I think that's critically important.
Oh, I literally have been preaching to Stan for the past couple of weeks about the importance of ecosystem, tagging each other, collaboration stuff, things he could do to better his page, how he should be communicating, what people need to know. I mean, same stuff we do on the weekends.
Yeah.
You know, at XDog is how can we all be better?
Yeah.
What can we put out there to help people help themselves and their dogs?
So what got you into actually wanting to do this as a business and as a career?
Yeah, so I went to Texas Christian University for entrepreneurial management. Go Frogs. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do, to be honest. I just knew I wanted to be my own boss. So
Yeah.
I went for entrepreneurial management, kind of thinking like, something will happen. It'll work out. And then I graduated and didn't work for 2 years, so it didn't really work out. And then my boyfriend actually was like, okay, we got to get you out of the house. What are we going to do? You're obsessed with dogs. That's not enough. You got to work.
Yeah.
And so he was like, why don't we start a dog daycare? You know, I've been dreaming about that for years. Since high school, I was always like, I want to have a daycare and training facility, you know, fun stuff. So much fun playing with dogs all day. And we found this property and we actually did it. And it took us a year to build it. And then we opened 2 years ago. It's been great. Got through COVID and no shutdowns. We grew all throughout COVID even, so it's been
awesome.
really good.
So your boyfriend goes, hey, I got to get her out of the house. She's not working. What triggered that? What triggered that conversation? Were you kind of down and out?
I imagine he's a hard worker. I don't know him from Adam, but
yeah. He works 12-hour days every day of the week. So definitely a hard worker. He's been doing that since he dropped out of college to do this. He's in Texas Tires. Shout out to Texas Tire Saginaw. Also, I mean, I was doing dog rescue. So I got out of college. I was doing dog rescue all day, every day, which is volunteer work. You don't get paid, but you put in hours and hours and hours of work. So I was dealing with all these problem dogs, you could say, you know, having dogs in our house. I was helping with a lot of people with their own dogs. And he was like, let's get you paid to do this and kind of build your business. I had a really great support system already from Facebook, social media, where a lot of people would ask me for advice. A lot of people would ask me to work with their own dogs, to take care of their own dogs, but I was just out of my house, so it wasn't really something I could do. So it was mostly just taking my passion and putting it towards something that I could grow and be successful at and spend my time doing.
Do you feel fulfilled?
Some days.
Some days
it's very overwhelming. I mean, when you have your own business, for-profit business and also a nonprofit business, both working at the same time. Yeah. It can be very overwhelming, especially when it's all dog-centered and you go home and you still have 7 dogs to take care of. It can be a lot. But I mean, I wouldn't do anything else. I love it.
I guess what I was trying to segue into is that, you know, a lot of dogs, we started addressing depression and how dogs are not fulfilled because they don't have jobs and stuff, right? And so when they don't have jobs, they don't feel fulfilled. They're not living the best life they could possibly live. And, you know, stress is part of being an entrepreneur. Like, I was listening to one of my mentors this morning, and it was just like, he was like, you have to, like, it's always going to be hard. It's always going to be challenging. None of your days are going to end up being perfect, but it's the freedom essentially that is what we all kind of chase after being an entrepreneur, you know, like, and it's really cool because it's like, that's what we're trying to teach dog owners, the everyday dog owners, that you need to give your dog a job, like exercising your dog, not overfeeding your dog, it's going to give them a more higher quality of life. Wouldn't you think?
For sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's why I'm gonna put Ego in a tutu and have him biting on the pillow, just because, again, Stan comes out once a week, and you know, the dog's, he's whining soon as Stan gets in the door. He's like, if he hears that voice, he's like, oh, we about to go play. Yeah. You know, the dog wants to do what he wants to do, and that's the sad part. People want the dog to do what they wanted to do.
Yeah, that's a big thing I started learning when I came into. So I was always a pet owner. So I came into this being a pet owner, knowing pet owners, but seeing pet problems. So seeing, you know, dogs that come in and they say, my dog's bouncing off the walls, they're crazy energy. I want to drop them off with you for the day and have them come back and just be able to sleep. So basically wanting a dog to just lay at their feet, wanting a dog to just cuddle, wanting a dog to be the way they want. And that's not what they are. You know, they're living, breathing beings that need a job. They're born and bred over years to be a certain way. You know, if you have a lab, they're probably going to want to, you know, chase the water, go duck hunting. They're going to bark at you neurotically crazy if you're not exercising them. Border collies, healers, pits. I mean, you know, bully breeds, doing bite work with them is I mean, not all of them, but
Yeah, some of them will
it's
die.
great. You know,
Yeah.
like that's such a good outlet, and there's so many things owners either don't know or aren't willing to do because, you know, they want that dog that just hangs out with them.
What's some of the roles that you play here? Like as far as like, what do you actually do here? As far as what the fuck do you actually do here?
I just walk in, you know, make sure everything's okay. Nah. So Maddie and so Mustafa and Dolores are some good friends of mine that we did a lot of training with, and they know Cord, Maddie's boyfriend. So they linked us together, and she has a very nice facility, as you could see.
Yeah.
And when I left the other facility I was at, I didn't have a facility. So she was like, man, we got all of these unruly dogs. It's just pet problems. Cool, let's figure something out. So basically, I board dogs here, and I train and come up, do what I need to do with the dogs, and they take care of all the hard stuff, you know, cleaning the poop, make sure they get fed and all of that.
The fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then her personal dogs go, I mean, we're not in the best area in the world right here, so some interesting people will walk through the front door, and she has a Cane Corso named Titan, and he's not the best bred dog, but he loves her, and he's willing to work. So we got him to the point where he will alert, and he'll probably bite somebody in a real situation because, again, you've seen the employees here. They're all, under 23 years old, women, not the biggest, and stuff like that. So having a dog that will do something for them when, you know, nobody's here is a very good thing.
So you think there'd be less risk if he had Viking women as employees?
Oh, probably. But she probably wouldn't get the same clientele.
Yeah. And so what all do you offer here as far as just like for your spa and your daycare?
So we do all-day play for dogs. Of course, we give them breaks for, as we kind of talked about, anxiety, you know, and that kind of stuff. You can't have just 12 hours of all-out, brawl-out play. You got to give them some structure. We also do overnight boarding, so dogs can either play or get one-on-one time. We do plenty of dogs that can't be with other dogs. Again, that's a problem that we like to try to help with. And then we also have baths. So we don't do grooming. I'll never do grooming.
Yeah.
Stop asking me.
Why is that?
Too much work.
Yeah.
I mean, spend hours on a dog for $70, not worth it. So, but we do baths.
Yeah.
So we'll do a bath, a good brush out, and a nail trim. But that's the extent of my grooming abilities and desires.
Nobody's ever happy with, you know, services. So, he was supposed to have an afro. Well, your dog didn't have good enough hair for an afro, but you still got to deal with it.
I'll stick with what I know, which is dog behavior, dog exercise, and then of course we do the board and trains. So for quality, we only do like maybe 3 at a time, depending on if the dogs are really good and really quick learners or if they're more slow. We'll do a handful of board and trains at a time to really keep the quality high. And we've had, I would say, everyone's pretty satisfied with the training. Then they return for daycare and they stay pretty existing long-term clients.
So having Stan or having the trainer around potentially secures business in a sense.
I would say it does a lot for, if even clients walking in the door, they don't always have to do board and trains. You know, we scratch each other's backs. I'll give him some clients to do more at-home sessions that doesn't necessarily benefit me. And then he'll send some friends who don't train with here, but he'll send them here to board, and it's just a good relationship. And not only that, but teaching the staff how to deal with dogs, if there is a dog fight, how do you break up a dog fight? How do you see loading behaviors? How do you deal with gate control? How do you if a dog doesn't necessarily know sit and stay, how do you kind of verbally and, spatially get them back when you are only a 112-pound, 19-pound girl? How are you going to control a room of 30 very energetic dogs? So having somebody kind of teach everybody that is really beneficial for sure.
How risky is it to have like 30 dogs in a room?
For us, not very risky. Because so we have an evaluation process. So we only take 2 to 3 new dogs a day. We'll put them in their own room to kind of decompress. So we do all day. There are some places who are like 2 hours and we'll make our decision. I don't feel like that's enough time to make a decision on a dog. So we'll let them run around by themselves, kind of burn off that original anxiety, which would be a great time to slap a vest on them, have them kind of come down to a neutral state. And then we introduce them to the other dogs. If it's going well, then it goes well. If it doesn't, they're just not approved. So
they're not approved to stay here, or like
they're not approved for day play. So they can still board, they can still get one-on-one time, still get time with us. It's just playing in the room with the other dogs.
Yeah.
Only dogs that are 100% dog friendly are going to be in those groups.
Yeah, I found it really interesting because I remember when I first initially came out here, I saw maybe like 10 dogs in a room at one point, or even maybe a little bit more than that. It was just interesting seeing all their behaviors and their personalities and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is a perfect situation that we can really start evaluating this thing and actually putting some studies together to educate dog owners around the world, you know, because I don't think people know how to really read behavior, like as an initial dog owner. Like you really have to get with a mentor or somebody who's educated to really truly understand that. And I think that lack of communication is what enhances a lot of problems. And so like, I think a place like this can solve a lot of problems, you know, with that communication barrier.
Do you plan on opening some more rough resorts?
Yes, for sure. We're looking at opening another location. We're just looking at real estate. It's not the best time for real estate right now, but we're looking at possibly Burleson, Keller area.
Foreign
area. We'll see. I mean, I'm still going to be the one to run it, so I don't want to drive too far, but
hey, man,
we'll
maybe,
see. We'll see. We
so
got to
you
get
can
this
franchise
one
it out.
all-
Maybe
all
do a
good to go.
collab or something.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
Collab.
I really like the idea of that, stuff like that. I was talking to Cam about that. I was like, man, you know, like it's just really pivotal, man, like to have a place like this because just that one visit here, I learned so much.
Yeah.
Like I just learned a ton just by experiencing it. And so I think there just needs to be more places like this everywhere. I mean, in my opinion.
Run
and
properly.
I think a lot of it has to do with the leadership at the places. Especially, you know, having, not that he's on staff or an employee, but being partnered with a trainer who can kind of teach the staff how to deal with things because really, I mean, you walk into a business, you are under the impression that everyone's trained, you know, that everyone's trained to take care of that dog.
Sure.
But at a lot of places, they're not. They're just, you know, a person that wants to play with dogs all day, so they come in, and that's not what it is. So having a place that you're partnered with a trainer, you kind of understand dog behavior like you were talking about. You don't really know dog behavior until you have a mentor. So if you walk into a room and two dogs that are standing at each other stiff and their hackles are up and you're like, oh, that's so cute. That's not going to go well.
I mean, how long has it been for the longest where they're like, here, put your hand down, let the dog sniff you.
Exactly.
It's like one of the most dangerous things you could do, you know.
Or a dog's on a leash standing there and you let your dog run up to it. Oh, he's friendly.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of stuff. And having an advocate, like, I try to advocate for all the dogs here. Like, oh, back up. This dog hasn't been assessed yet. I want to make sure everyone's safe. You know, dogs that are in this bath area have never been assessed, so please don't let them stick their face through. If you're not a type of leader who can tell people about their dogs, you know, you have to have more knowledge and experience than they do.
How do systems play a role over here? Do you guys have good systems in place as far as just like as a new client would come in or anything like that?
I would say so. Yeah, because we only take a couple per day so that I can really make sure my quality. I mean, we're all about quality, so I would much rather have every single customer happy than have 100 dogs a day and them all leaving dissatisfied. So I feel like every dog that comes here, I know their name, I know their preferences, I know if they're scared of big dogs, if they're scared of little dogs, if they're more timid with people, if they're an escape artist. I can tell you and we have over 1,000 dogs in our books. I can tell you every single one of them and their parents' names and everything, and that kind of quality is really hard to come by.
Yeah.
So basically, we only need rough resorts in this world.
Yeah. Well, quality grows businesses. I don't think people quite understand that, man. I think a lot of, like, for example, and this isn't all dog trainers, but a lot of dog trainers sell dreams, you know? Like, they'll be like, yeah, I think I can solve that problem, or I believe I can solve that problem, and they don't have an experience
And that's why I really like to work with Stan, because he knows what he wants to work with, and he's willing to say, like, oh, I don't do dog aggression. I don't do dog behavior, you know? Yeah. He might be willing to tackle it depending on the dog, depending on the person, depending on his relationship with that dog. But you got to know your strengths and what you're willing to work with. And if we want to get something done in 2 to 3 weeks, you don't want to take on a problem that's going to be 6 months. You know, and if you do, maybe say, hey, let's do private sessions. Board and train's not going to work for you. He's not about the money. It's about, I want to make sure this dog and you have the best relationship possible, that we're growing towards a place that's going to make you happy as a dog parent.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have the misconception. It's like, if you can solve the problem, the byproduct is that more people are going to pay you. But people always chase the paper before solving the problem, and that's the problem, you know?
They fail faster than they can even get off the ground.
Yeah, and it's just like, trust me, like, I mean, every business that's successful, that ever thrives, they're the best at solving that unique problem, period.
You can't do everything.
Yeah.
You got to do what you do.
Yeah.
So, what else?
What else? So let's talk about
Challenging his. Go ahead, you got
So
something?
one thing about the body language, a lot of people see one behavior that the dog's doing, and they're like, "Oh, that's it." So somebody's like, "Hey, my dog won't bite because it's wagging its tail." Have you ever seen these dogs do bite work? They're having a grand old time, wagging the tail, smiling on the bite. That does not mean that the dog won't wag its tail. That's the only way the dog knows how to get feelings out, is to wiggle or to shake or to do something.
Yeah.
And a lot of people need a lot of education on those kind of
yeah,
things.
they're chomping at the bits to get at your arm. You know, like, give me that fucking arm.
Come on.
Yeah, it's cool. So where do you see the vision of, rough, resorts and spas? Like, where do you see it in 10 years?
Ooh, 10 years, hopefully at least 5 locations across DFW. Again, keeping quality, and I want to be the one to open them. So every 2 years, I'd like to have a new one and kind of build bonds with people. I mean, we have some friends we've been talking to about maybe doing kind of franchise situations where it's people I trust that not only work in our circle, but have that knowledge that I would trust to open up another one.
Yeah.
So really just growing and keeping it going, keeping the rescue work going, and trying to stay sane while doing it.
Yeah, we've been currently building out our showroom.
Yeah, I saw that. It looks so good.
And then we're figuring out how much square footage we're thinking. We're thinking about 2,000 square feet where we can put our treadmills in there, areas where you can use the drag bag, parachute, and resistance bands, and kind of developing like a system to franchise out to where people can have memberships and be able to come into a fitness center.
Cool.
But I think that, I think it'd be cool to have, down the road, like maybe have a place like this and then a place like that next to it, or connecting. Maybe
or in the same kind of,
Because I think that they synergistically, seamlessly work together. You know what I mean? So people could actually have products, and get access to some of the best quality products, and then also this being one of the best quality products.
Yeah, I think that's so cool.
I think that'd be interesting.
Exercise does a lot for dogs. Like, people always ask, "Hey, Stan, how old's Rocco?" I'm like, "He's 8.
Yeah.
He's 8. He moves like a puppy."
Yeah.
Well, he's on a very good quality diet. He works out all the time, and he's loved. So, of course, those things are going to make him grow or age less likely than a dog that sits and gets free fed and pedigree and all that bullshit.
I think, it's a big thing in the bully community, right? A lot of things that people like to preach is that it's just genetics, right? Like, because for the longest, where people have the misconception, they never understood, like 15, 20 years ago when the American Bully was made, they were juicing up these studs. So when the studs would produce or have a litter, the pups would never look like the stud. And they're like, "Oh, that stud doesn't produce." It's not that the stud didn't produce. It's that the stud offspring were not being juiced, right? And so once they figured that out, and I think that really highly influenced the microbreed, right? I think it's one of the biggest reasons why micros are evolved, because it's such a powerful gene. That dwarfism gene is guaranteed to give you, no matter how much other health risk there is, they're still guaranteed to give you that muscle, right? And so now it's like, well, it's not just genetics, because you can go, I guarantee you, if we take your dog, right, and we put him on any dog, we put him on canned dog food, which meets AFCO regulated standards for 90 days and not exercise them, then put that same dog on a raw diet, train it every day, exercise it every day, that it will manipulate or influence the cellular genes in that dog. The dog is going to look different.
My own dogs did that before I started this. I mean, they were on low quality, but they're on, PetSmart type food and backyard play, whatever. Then we started coming here, started learning about not only mental exercise, but physical exercise, got them onto, better quality diet. And you can see their muscles when they run, their energy is better, their shedding is less. There's so much to dogs that people don't know. But back to the exercise, I think a lot of people think I'm going to drop my dog off at daycare and they're going to be so happy and so fulfilled. But kind of like we were talking about earlier, daycare isn't necessarily a job for the dog, right? It's playtime, it's free time, it's mindless running around having a great time. For a lot of dogs, that is great. It works super well. But there's like usually it's the really well-bred specific dogs, like GSPs, border collies, healers. that actually were bred for a job, putting them in an XDog vest with a treadmill or doing more breed-specific tasks, I think would fulfill them mentally and would give that person the kind of dog they want and give that dog the kind of life they want. And that kind of thing makes people happy regardless of if they know that in that moment. So I think educating people on that down the line would be so cool to just grow and educate the community as a whole on the dogs that they have, and not just because they're pretty. Yeah.
I mean, physical stimulation versus mental stimulation are two different stimulations, right? And so, like you said, like a purebred dog is a dog with a degree. A mixed breed dog is a dog with multiple degrees. And so I think it'd be cool, like if you had an area, maybe even had areas for like a barn hunt area for rat terriers and stuff like that to mentally stimulate.
I mean, we have like West Highland Terriers, Jack Russell Terriers, all of the little terriers that, and even a couple schnauzers are like crazy high drive. I was like, what are you doing?
Well, schnauzers are high. I mean, they're terriers. But
like, giving them something like that is so fulfilling, and not only would it be fun for us to like watch and facilitate, but that would be so fulfilling for that dog, and they would actually go home not only exhausted from running around and being anxious, but actually having like a fulfilling life.
Totally, I 100% agree.
Making dogs think. So a lot of times we do 1 hour sessions, and most people are like, is that enough time to teach the dog? And I'm like, yeah. So about 35 minutes in, they're looking at their dog and sitting in the corner laying down like, man, he's tired. It's like, yeah, you've actually made him think. You've actually made him work through stuff. He didn't get to do whatever the hell he wanted to. So with the board and trains here, if the dogs do good, they get to go to recess. They get to go play with the other dogs. If they don't, hey, you got to understand that you got to work for the things that you want to do. So it's really good and handy. Because there was a Doberman that we had that was scared. He was pissing everywhere, just terrified dog. Put him in daycare for like a couple of days. He came back, and now he was trying to punk all the other dogs.
Kind of a little bit of an asshole, but I liked him. He was one of my favorite ones.
How much does the pack influence a dog when he comes in here? Like, you have some that are probably over here all the time, right? Like,
we've got dailies. Most of them are regulars, every other day or so. So definitely, I mean, it builds confidence like no other. I mean, and specifically because we take dogs that we know are not going to be bullying and putting the other dogs down. Their confidence gets crazy high, where they come in, at least with us, they come in their first day really nervous, hiding behind their owner, not wanting to go back, like just terrified because they don't know what's going on. And a month later, they're running out of the car, off the leash, running in the door, not even saying bye to their parents, and don't even want to go home. I've had people have to drag their dog out of here to go to the car, and they're like, they just love you so much. Or like on their second mom. So they are fulfilled here. They do love it here, and they just know they're going to go home and sleep and not get that fulfillment.
It's interesting because it's kind of like a dog is going to follow a sound leader, and so if you're more sound than their actual owners, they'll turn on them. They're like, I'm going to go where it's more, where there's more leadership.
And you can see that. We've had a couple of people pick up their dogs from board and trains who the dogs are sitting with me and Stan, and their owners who they haven't seen in 2 or 3 weeks are standing there like, come here. And they're just like, what do you want me to do, Stan?
Is that okay?
And you can tell, I mean, leadership does so much for their confidence. And I think that's why us being here, confident leaders for the dogs, just gives them more security. I mean, if you're an insecure leader, you're going to have an insecure dog or a problem dog. And if you're confident, not to say that solves all issues, but, it definitely helps to be a leader for sure.
And it's a fine line between being too hard on the dog and letting them do whatever they want to. So, again, we provide structure. We supply a system. They understand what they can do and what they can't do. So then, like Jocko says, discipline equals freedom. The more discipline this dog has, the more freedom you have. There's been times we're at parks and everywhere, and I just let Oakley out the car. I don't care. She's not going to run off. And even if she does, I can down her. I can recall her because of all of the discipline that she has, but she also has a lot of fun doing it as well. So it's having that fine line between system, and do whatever you want.
And every dog is unique, right? Like, it's a case-by-case situation. So that's why dog training, you have to, I think, be super creative in a way. Like, you get these people arguing online all the time about certain dog trainers and their methods and how they shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that. And it's just like, I said today, man, complaining doesn't fix anything. You know what happened? I got swarmed with a bunch of people complaining, thinking I was calling them out. I'm like, relax, dude. Like, but we need to be able to host these conversations. I think dog trainers need to be able to talk to each other, and there's not a one system fix all, and there's certain things that you can do that will, you can be all positive in certain cases. Like, Triton, I think everything all positive is pretty good for him, Then I also have other dogs at my house that, man, like my Cocker Spaniel, she's a nose dog. Like, she's a treat. She highly values a treat, like compared to Triton, he highly values a toy, and so every situation is unique. And I think there's a big epidemic right now when it comes to, I don't know, I just think dog trainers are kind of afraid of these up and comers who are getting new, but man, there's not enough dog trainers per dog capita when it comes to dog ownership, man. There's so many dog owners who need dog trainers, Yeah. And so it's going to be interesting to see where this goes in the next 10 years, huh?
Well, walk them through what you plan on achieve here working with Maddie in the Rough Resort, and why XDog is going to benefit from
first of all,
partnership.
I want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Like, this being out here is inspiring, and to be able to have you guys open the doors to us and for us to be able to work together, I hope that, we can really find some new interesting studies in dog psychology and dog behavior out here. And so I want to say thank you for allowing us to come out here and work with you. And hopefully what we're going to find out is, like, when you talk about dog rescues, right, and daycares and uncertain areas and stuff like that, this is probably it can be one of the most stressful situations, especially in a dog rescue, right? Dogs on the streets, you rescue the dog, now you throw them in here and you throw them into a place where there's a bunch of strangers and they don't know nobody, and there's like adapt, right? So that's pretty stressful, even if you're a human, right? Like, you're anybody. So, with the XDog vest, we started getting involved in dog behavior. So dog anxiety is a big problem, right? And so we want to be able to see how well the vest can help with that. There are going to be certain dogs that we're interested in hosting as far as like transformation contests. If any of your clients are interested in transformation, paying them, a cash reward, or paying them daycare credits there where we can to see if they want to transform their dog and help them lose weight.
I've already talked to a couple people who
are they interested?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm down. Like, I'm really interested in doing that because those transformations are going to be a big deal. And then high energy dogs, right? Dogs are high energy, giving them a job, employing them so we can stimulate them mentally. So we have like 3 pillars when it comes to XDog vest. We got, muscle, performance, fitness. We have anxiety, behavior, mental, and then we have health, wellness, longevity, right? And so we want to be able to take these 3 pillars and see what we can do out here to help, translate that to the everyday dog owner and how important it is. Because, like you said, there's no denying exercise does slow down the aging process of living cells. There's no denying it. There's too many strong studies that prove that. And so how can we get dog owners to exercise their dogs more, and then at the same time influence them to properly feed their dogs? I mean, I feed my dogs 6 days a week, 1 time a day, and my dogs, some people would consider my dogs overweight, but it's all about what you feed your dog, right? Put your dog put in its body. Someone like Trevor, exercises the shit out of his dog, right? And it doesn't really, I mean, it kind of does. Have you seen a big influence on the phenotype as far as what you've been feeding them, or is it just
for one, I've always believed food matters, and I've got pictures from 10 years ago, dogs that one of my pit bulls, Coco, her muscles, everything. So as you see, I've been into nutrition and exercise, and let's see how far we can take this.
Yeah.
So it definitely plays a huge role. And I never believed that dog food was good. This is why my mom, I'd come in, I'd buy a $5 rotisserie chicken, pick all the skin off, and put that in with green beans every fucking day, man.
Well, I'll tell you right now, dog food prices are going to continue to skyrocket, right? Yeah. And so it's going to be important to be able to take that 40-pound bag of dog food, and if you can enhance it with some things around the house that's already in your refrigerator that you're normally eating, you can extend that bag of dog food into maybe a 60-pound bag of dog food if you properly feed it right, or, a 60 days worth of dog food, you know what I mean? And so our goal here is to help dog owners extend the life of their dog through nutrition, fitness, and education. And I think this ecosystem that we're building together is going to be able to do that in a way that nobody else is doing.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So where can they find you?
So we're on Facebook and Instagram, Rough Resort and Spa, FW, and then Love and Paws Rescue.
Yeah.
Just on both. But yeah, we're We're the only ones with the name.
Now, what's really cool is that, I mean, what's really extraordinary about how you've grown this business is that you don't do paid ads. So that lets you know the quality of what you're going to get out here, because word of mouth is pivotal, right? And if you can grow a business like that without, I mean, trust me, I spent a lot on marketing. So it's crazy, you know, like I'm a big advocate for dog trainers. I tell people all the time, like, well, I haven't told people all the time, but you know, like if a trainer gets on me, like on one of my posts, I'm like, I've invested well over into the six figures into dog trainers, you know, like, so unless you've done that, we have nothing to talk about. I'm an advocate for dog training and dog trainers. So, we want to talk about the contest. So last month we held a contest with the camo vest and the matching leash and collar. We had how many winners, Jamarcus? 5?
We actually had 6 in total.
6 in total.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had 6 in total. I think we only shipped out 3 of the products. And the reason why is because if you didn't listen to the episode to be announced as a winner, you're not gonna be able to collect your prize. And we gave you 7 days. So that's plenty of time before every next episode. So we're going to run another contest in July. I'll do an announcement today. What's today? July 22nd. No, June 22nd.
June 22nd.
June 22nd. I'll make the announcement today live, and I'll do a post, and then you'll know what the contest is in July. But again, you have to listen to the podcast, which you can find on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, anywhere else.
Yep. Google. I mean, hey, you type in True Beast Podcast, you'll find it.
Okay, so just listen in there, and then, man, we'll probably have to do a Maddie Resort giveaway too. So we'll have to do something there.
I was gonna say, if you guys don't collect it, I'll collect it.
We'll be doing a giveaway over here too, but it's time to go check out some dogs, right?
Yeah.
So thank you, Maddie, again, man. It's been awesome out here, and we should do more podcasts. You know, maybe once a month. I don't know, maybe every other month. We'll figure it out. I definitely want to make sure whatever we can do to support you, to help you grow your brand and business. We're here for you. We got your back, you know.
Let's better the dog community together.
Yeah, let's do it together. So, guys, thank you all for tuning in. And again, man, if we're doing all this for free, all we ask for you is to share, leave us a review, do something to help support us, man, so we can keep giving you all these golden nuggets. And thank you, as always, for listening and supporting us. And as always, Team XDog Strong.
Yes, sir.